This is Trekland HQ, and it's Tuesday, and we're live. Uniforms, wraps, COVID, and tours. Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live, number 254. With me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47 for the big picture, clarity, and sanity in all things Star Trek. Hey, we are back once again on Tuesday. In fact, you know what? It's a third Tuesday. Third Tuesdays of the month, I always have a 24-hour special, a hot deal, right out of something to do with Trekland here, one of our arsenal of offers. So stick around for that. Hey, everybody, I'm glad to be back with you, sounding a little better than I did a week ago, hopefully. Almost back, just in time to travel to Detroit this weekend for PinguaCon, Little PinguaCon. A lot of you are like, what's PinguaCon? It's an awesome little sci-fi and makers convention mashup in greater Detroit area, in Southfield, actually. And they've invited me there in 2020. And we're finally going to make it live. So I'm really looking forward to that. This week seemed like kind of a catch-all, seemed like kind of a catch your breath moment. Yeah, it's an in case you missed it. And in case you missed it wrap up. I'm just going to dive in, but I will say, if you are new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, a big fat welcome, big skinny welcome, whatever kind of welcome you would like. You've probably figured out that we've got chat rolling here. We've got a wonderful TTLers chat community, so jump in there, let yourself be known, or you can lurk. We have lurkers for a while too. But to help you enjoy what I have to say at first, I'll take a quick break for those on live, and then we'll come back with the Parrot Analytics ratings here in the US, the streaming ratings, and then I will really wade into the chat, okay? Yes, and just a reminder that if you're on Facebook, you're only seeing Facebook answers, but if you are chat, but if you're on Twitch and YouTube, you'll see everything, all right? Because this is kind of a grab bag, is the other nice way to say it in case you missed it. Because I wanted to say and reinforce a couple things here. So this is a big miscellaneous random week, but hopefully not for you, because number one, there are ripples and echoes still coming down from Mission Chicago a week ago. A lot of the fun news is getting out on video. A lot of what was offered, I'm still putting out my videos and pictures. I've had a live visit up with the folks at the Star Trek Wines. Stephen Brewer, which I thought was an interesting last name for somebody that worked with a winer. He wasn't Stephen Vineyard. He wasn't Stephen Vintner. He was Stephen Brewer. And you should check that out too. The update on Star Trek Wines. I've got more coming from Fansets and from the Boot folks. John Fluvog and our friend Frage at the old and new Star Trek Unlimited. That's all coming on the pike. But one thing that flew by, aside from the historic first meeting of the Sid City Social Club in live action, was that Lower Decks panel. For once, Mike McMahon, if you haven't seen, we're mining some of his comments from the open house last fall, our free Portal 47 big annual event. Mike was the guest list. We were going to be putting some of those up finally, but putting them up online. But for once, he was on a panel where he wasn't the star because it was live. Actors got to act. Yes, voice actors got to voice act. And did you see this? The stunt of all the Lower Decks people that were assembled. There were only 4 out of that at least 8+ cast. But the 4 on stage all wore Lower Decks uniforms. Now, it was cute. And I was about 15, 20 minutes into the thing when I thought, wait a minute. Has there ever been a time when a Star Trek cast wore their uniforms on stage at a con? Because that's another example of what protocol was and seemly. And also what, hey, if I'm not getting paid extra for that, basically it was a case of how inverted all this buffet of Star Trek is as soon as we added animation. Because look, live action actors, That's their work uniform. It's not just their pretend uniform. That's what they wear at work most of the time. These voice actors, Tawny and Jack Quaid and Noel, and then Jerry O'Connell, they barely see each other when they're recording, especially in a pandemic. But even as a matter of course, they don't see each other, much less do something goofy that befits animation. They are not wearing a uniform 10, 12 hours a day while they're shooting live action. It's a completely inverted feeling, expectation, experience that the live action actors have to go through. So of course, for their triumphant debut post-pandemic as a group together on stage, no little Zoom boxes separating them, of course, it's a huge stunt to wear their uniforms. They look very classy, by the way, I should say. And then, of course, the pulling out the Tom Paris plate for Boimler was a nice touch too. But I feel like that just flew by. And a couple of people said, "Oh, look, they're wearing the uniforms." Gang, I think that was a first. Now, we've had photo ops where characters individually got into makeup, especially the makier uppier, the better. We've had guest stars, we've had one-offs, we've had, Bob and JG together, the Ferengi family together. But we've, on a stage, didn't necessarily have to even be makeup. But wearing their uniforms, no big deal, for the 45 minutes because they wanted to, because they got into it. And if you saw some of the video hijinks that were going on, you understood that too. So anyway, I just thought it was amazing. And I think the truth of the matter, the proof in the pudding was that Mike McMahon didn't have to provide all the zingers for the 45 minutes, for the whole panel. That's kind of been on him lately, and he enjoys it. But for once, he got to give it up to his actors. So I just wanted to point that out. We had a panel with Star Trek actors wearing their uniforms for the whole panel at a big national con in mass. I just thought that was awesome. The other thing, though, coming out of Chicago was, and I don't know if you saw this, and now after yesterday, it's a very ironic timing. There was a mini, I don't want to say an outbreak. It was not a super spreader, but there was a mini COVID outbreak. I knew several people, heard from several people. People were posting, some high profile folks, fans, influencers, folks you would know. Trek Geek Dan, someone from the Women at Warp booth, my friend David from San Diego, all people who were fully vaxxed and were masking. One person I know never took a mask off all weekend and wound up testing positive. Now, so far, most people are looking, mostly, from what I'm reading, mostly symptom-free or like bad cold-free. Now, I don't trust COVID to not pop up in 10 or 20 years with brain bleeds or some kind of clotting factor that we don't know now. We won't know for 10 or 15 or 20 years. So I don't blow it off like, oh, it's just another cold. And I know yesterday, not to delve into the real world of law and politics, but we had the mask mandate revoked, which I hate to see because we're watching this. Not that I want to live in a pandemic mask up world for the rest of my life. Of course I don't. But by the same token, I don't want to live in a mask pandemic world the rest of my life. So anyway, it's like the little kids that scream and yell, when we get there, and just make the damn trip more of a pain, drag it out even longer in perception. So I'm going to be going to Detroit, and I'm going to be masking on the plane, you betcha. Because I know of people who, over the weekend, or especially some in transit, who got their COVID while traveling, even under the protocols that we did have. It's that insidious. It may not be as severe a disease and infection, but its stickiness is just still unbelievable. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but I just want to say, I don't know if you heard that, but good on them. People were reporting that. And for people, a lot of our fan folks who were boothing and out and about and were very much in contact with others. And there are probably others who have come up since that I am omitting here, but it's still very much a factor. So you know what I'd say. The other thing I noticed that I just want to notice that no one has nothing to do with Chicago. It has to do with the calendar. We are in mid-April and we know Star Trek. We live our anniversaries. It just struck me that in contrast to that sad week at the end of January every year when NASA has Memorial Week and we remember the lost astronauts of Apollo 1, of the Challenger disaster, of the Columbia breakup. On a different note, but in the same vein, just cheerier. Well, I think it's cheerier. It might be bittersweet. This is the time I'm looking at my April calendar of anniversaries here, and you might say, yeah, this is like wrap party month, especially the finales. I've just got some notes here. On the 13th, it was the Enterprise finale wrap party at the Hollywood Roosevelt, 2005, of course. This week, this in 2 or 3 days, on the 22nd, will be the anniversary of the DS9 wrap party up at the Sky Bar at the Mondrian on Sunset on the Sunset Curve in Hollywood. That was 1999, of course. I've got some other wrap parties to track, and of course, there's a wrap party every season. I'm talking these two, especially being the finales of their season, and it just reminds me of a couple things. One, April, just as it is with, say, school terms and the junior senior prom and all of that, graduation. April a lot of times is a time of endings, and it was that way for a lot of the Berman era shows. That gets me to realize later on that it used to be that way for TV in general. And another difference with now and then, I know the COVID is the pandemic has slowed things down, but even when we're in normal times, even in the old days, in the old times, the old ones, it's like we're just, I mean, I'm not yelling on the lawn here. I'm not screaming at the kids. It is what it is. But there's something about missing the time when TV was like clockwork and things ended, wrapped up in April, maybe May, restarted in June-ish, July-ish. Everyone took a hiatus, and then we had the year to shoot. Now, a lot of people are not missing 26 episodes a year. A lot of audience aren't getting used to that. And a lot of folks who depended on their industry credits to keep their healthcare going, all those kinds of things, however, their savings and just how their work pattern went. On one hand, 10 episodes, 12 episodes, 13 are a godsend. But on the other hand, that means you've got to find twice as much work, which is why you see a lot of double dipping these days. People got to work all year long. They got to get their income coming in. So it just struck me, though, one more time. I see this lineup of April finales and wrap parties and realize that's a lost era. That is a done deal. We will not look upon that like again, unless we have a radical shift back in the formatting of TV. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. That probably strikes no one the way it strikes me. But it's kind of like a little marker that is just a ripple effect. Hey, I said, in case you missed it, I said this is a grab bag of thoughts and ideas this week, okay? Another shout out, if you missed it, my good friend, buddy, and colleague, John Champion over at Mission Log and Everything Roddenberry these days, just celebrated his big 5-0. We had a lovely party. Show him some love as the lineup of famous Star Trek birthdays keeps rolling along. I could even say today, happy birthday in absentia to Saul Kaplan, the composer of my favorite Star Trek soundtrack and theme for the Doomsday Machine, who I eternally will feel bad for being ripped off by John Williams for Jaws. And also happy birthday to Herman Zimmerman today, right? We don't usually do big effort on birthdays, but since I've gone down that path, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. Tomorrow is George Takei's birthday and many more too, as well. And Noah's. It's Noah's. So I'm getting you prepped and ready there. But again, this is not the birthday show. There's plenty of folks out there to do that across the interwebs. And we try to bring you a little same old that's not same old. So yeah, there's just a random grab bag of things. I did mention, let's see, what did I say in case you missed it? Uniforms, wraps, COVID, and tours. this is a phenomenon that's gotten crazy. It's gotten so confusing for folks that I'm going to have to come up with a whole marketing campaign to keep this straight. But I just want everybody to remember that, yes, one of the cool things that we did do at Chicago, at Mission Chicago, was Terrace Cassidy at Geek Nation Tours and I announced the big tour, the 10-day Western U.S. away mission, the West Coast away mission. It's a return to our big multi-day Star Trek location tour that Geek Nation Tours operates and that I lead. It'll be in LA and San Francisco in July. I've got to get the links on my site, but I know if you go to geeknationtours.com, you will see the information there. It's being posted, but you want to get it on your calendar. It's the mid part of July. I want to say it's the July 10th to the 20th of 2023. So plenty of time to plan, plenty of time to save up for it. Also on that calendar, though, much closer in is, you've seen me talk about it, Geek Nation Tours one-day tour out the Valley of Fire that we've done so often. This is for folks who are coming to Vegas. Yes, it's Vegas Con Eve. This year, Wednesday, since the con starts on Thursday. It's only 4 days. Wednesday, August 24th. And again, you can go to geeknationtours.com and check that out too. The little rows of their tours they have up there. Not all Star Trek. You might see something else you enjoy and want to get into. Those are two. Also on the horizon is my 2-day tour, calling it the Great Birds Origin Tour. It's August 21st. I need 6. This is a much smaller scale, but it's 2 days. You can get a $100 off rate at the Hollywood Hotel, which is where we'll start each day. You don't have to stay there if you're local. In fact, I have, of the 6 people I need, 2 are local already. We're halfway there. We've got 3 folks lined up for this. It's 2 days of me. Rod is going to join us for part of the time, talking about everything that made Gene what made him, on all of his career and also his growing up, his schools, where he grew up, where his dad at the LAPD besides himself, and of course studios and hangouts and that kind of thing. It's going to be really fun, really different, nothing ever before, never offered before, and I'm really looking forward to offering this. This is supposed to be a COVID year, supposed to be centennial year offering last year, and we had to bump it back a year. So hey, it's the end of the centennial year, right? August 19th. So there's that. And then, yes, people are all over me about offering a tour for all the hordes coming in for the cruise next year, which is going to leave from LA, not Florida. And so to take advantage of the situation, I'd already wanted to make sure everyone knew they could take a Trekland Treks tour, but I'm going to offer an LA Away Days prepackaged tour. At least one. We're going to see what the demand is. On the Thursday before Friday disembarkation. That's just next February. I'll have that up. I promise, as soon as possible. It's been heartening to see how many people who are the cruisers are all into that. So I'm going to work on that and get it up. But a lot of people are coming extra days they plan to anyway. So hopefully we can give them an experience like that they'll never have again until they come back for more. Or they take the big tour with us. So yes, it's as we open up out of COVID, smartly, intelligently, but the things we can do, and especially as we look down the road 6, 9, 12 months, it's exciting to think of all the things reopening. And as we look at what the new paradigm of these conventions is, what does Trek Vegas look like at Bally's? What is the mission from Reed Pop? What does that format look like? Chicago, now to be in Seattle and to be in May, which I think actually Memorial Day weekend, end of May. So summer for a lot of folks. I think it'll be much better received that way for vacation. Seattle is not a city that a lot of folks have been to. I, however, love that convention center and love the downtown area. It'll be much more lively than the McCormick Center in Chicago. Have I grab bagged enough today? I can't wait to jump into the chat and see what everybody's talking about. Maybe it'll be the topic I should have picked. But this week just felt like an in-between week, even with the goings on Picard. Picard seems like it's treading water a little bit. And of course, everyone's waiting on Strange New Worlds. Will it be the great Trek hope that everyone's planning on? The expectation bar is pretty high. We'll see. We'll see. That was a hell of a panel they did at Chicago as well. And to see Henry Alonzo Myers, the showrunner, out front and center and taking a little camera time too. All right. Hey, that is going to do it for this week's soapbox. Not quite as vitriolic as some days, but some weeks. But there you go. Yeah. Just to remind you, too, that the people that I need to mention are our Patreons. A big thanks to all of them. Our TTL Club, Diana Hopkins, Robin Wilson, Lawrence Todd, Anne Marie Siegel, Keith Rombach, Justin Porteous, Nathaniel Robinson, and Blaze K. And our TTL Live Wires, Rusty Harold, Halbert Gunn Johnson, by the way. Thank you, Rusty. The thing I could never have bought at the experience, but you made one anyway. Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Halbjorn, Gunn Johnson, Robert McLean, Alan Hoense, J.R. Poole. It was good to meet you. Yes. In Chicago, Byron Bailey, Dave Gregory, you too, Gay, Cleveland Lundstrom, and Casey Shafsky. Great to see all of you. If you want to help out here with the live stream as we grow it bit by bit, $5, $10. That's all I ask. I don't have a big setup on patreon.com/TreklandLive. Love it if you jump in. They collect that at the end of the month. So if you want to get in the Patreon club with the shout out and access to prior interviews from Portal early days, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. Otherwise, around the horn, yes, of course, there's a Trek Files up already. John Champion and I dive into a memo from the early days of TNG that speaks to an issue that has never been resolved in Star Trek, and I'm going to let you figure out what it is. The Trek Files over at our Facebook page or wherever you catch your podcasts. But Trek Files Facebook is the only place you can get the documents of the week. We're the only podcast with paperwork, y'all. And all the Roddenberry podcasts at podcast.roddenberry.com. Otherwise, kiddos, oh, you know what? I thought I did have our big, there you go. Can you even get the QR code? Maybe so. Maybe someday I will load this up in the Stills Viewer again. There you go. July 8th to the 17th. Excuse me, I quoted wrong dates. July 2023 is enough you need to know right now, and you can check it out over there too. Other than that, kids, it's Larry Nemechek on Twitter. Larry Nemechek's Trekland, as always, on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And Facebook and Instagram. A lot of fun stuff happening on Instagram in Trekland. Of course, if you want to just jump in as we've got Euro 47, the Euro ADT session tomorrow, portal47.net. Your minicon all year long, even as maybe the virtual events go away as we return to live streaming or they diminish. Hey, we were live streaming. We were virtualing. We were Zooming and free conference calling in 2015. And that's how we have our global great group of Portales with us. And some of them I know are in the chat today. That's going to do it for me right now. Aside to say we'll see you back here next Tuesday. I will be fresh from my experiences from PinguaCon Detroit. If you're in the Great Lakes region, come by. It's a wonderful, it's small, but it's not tiny at all. Look it up, PinguaCon. I think it's .com. If not, it'll be penguacon.org. Sorry. But still plenty of room for you to jump in. There's a whole makers segment. They do things just a little bit differently, but it's still a convention. I will be there with some other great non-celebrity guests, but fun folks, fun people, and a con with a history. They've been going, 20 years? I can't wait to get up in that neck of the woods and see what a fan con looks like, especially one that's a sci-fi and makers mashup. So check it out. Maybe I will see you there. If not, I will be back here next Tuesday to talk about that and whatever else is going on in Trekland. And as I bid adieu for this part of the show, if you are watching us later on YouTube, you should watch live sometime because there's a lot more of the show. Otherwise, for now, stay healthy. Do all the things your gut tells you to do. Yeah. Stay woke. Check the sources of what it is you're reading. And trek well, everybody. All righty. Let's look at the parrots. And I have to say, guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to mention the third Tuesday special, which, by the time that's on YouTube, it's not going to be a thing anyway. We'll be out of the 24-hour window. The 24-hour window is this. Come to the Roddenberry tour, sign up for this, and take $50 off. Boom. It's a $50 24-hour special for our August 2-day Great Bird Origins tour. We're going to tramps around East, West, and Central LA and retrace the life that made Star Trek. All right. Now let's get the parrots. And once again, I don't know what's up with Parrot Analytics, which, is the company that we've been following since the beginning of Discovery, lo these many 5 years, but they've been around for about 12, trying to figure out a way to get a handle on measuring apples to apples, the whole revolution in streaming series, which don't use ad spots, needing ad buys, needing rates, and needing publicly reported Nielsen ratings or the like. So yes, they've got a metric called average demand expression, which basically is scouring the internet in a glorified way and measuring it as a factor of popularity. They're measuring everything, all the terrestrial, all the broadcast, all the cable, and now all the streaming. And the streaming is what gets our attention because there's nothing else, to compare that to. Picard is our show of interest. Last week, we saw that as of the 8th, it had risen to number 5 in the top 10s in the US, which is astounding. That maybe Discovery had been number 1 once or twice in the first year when it was so hot and so controversial. That's all cooled off, and we rarely see a Trek in the top 5, much less that high. Picard was. I would love to tell you where he is this week, but as of right now, Parrot has not posted any top 10 ratings for the US overall. So go figure. What we can do, though, is look at the individual trending 30 and 60-day rates they post. Picard this week, as of today, is showing over 30 days a 30.6 market average difference, which is still outstanding, which is still in the upper 2.5%. If you look at the trend line over 60 days, well, the 30 days, that 30.6, that is up 92.3%. So I'm thinking it would have either been at number 5 in that ranking, or it would have been maybe a little higher, but within one place. And the trend line for Picard is still staying up, the 60-day average. I feel like I watched enough of those during the COVID graph crisis. But yeah, over a 60-day span, Picard is basically flat, but it's staying very healthy, and it's still more popular than 99.3% of all other action adventures that Parrot is watching. Now, Strange New Worlds is interesting because it's already on the radar. It's not aired yet. We're still, 3 weeks away? May 5th? May 6th? Take that, Star Wars. And it's still in the good rate. It's still 6.6 times more popular than an average show. So the buzz up front, even now among the hardcore, is giving it some traction. Its growth in demand is up 91% over the last 30 days, which means that its trend line is, I don't want to say it's a straight up, but after doing a dip, it's been up. It's been up. All right, can we do this again? Boom. That's the trend line. And of course, we're talking about, this is the end point over here because you're backwards. So we're going, yeah, that's since February, that line you see. So nowhere but up. And it's already, without airing a show, 85% as popular as any other in the action and adventure genre. So looking very healthy for Strange New Worlds. I'll just say, gang, the screener is out with the first 4 shows. Have I watched them? No. I need to. Before Detroit. But I had a granddaughter for 4 days, and I will say that some of you caught the live. The edited version is going to be up soon with Cadet Alice. So we watched 2 more Prodigy episodes, and that was fun. So there we are. Where will Picard end up? How will Picard end up its run? Much less where will it rank? What will the Strange New Worlds retro revolution do for Star Trek, for viewing, and for Star Trek showing up in the parrots every week? We'll see. We're still a few weeks away from that. Meanwhile, I am right here in front of the chat, and let's see what's going on. And again, I am back scrolling. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Hopefully everybody is, everything is cool. Let's see. And again, if you are on Twitch and YouTube, you're seeing everything. If you are on Facebook, you're only seeing Facebook. And again, I love actual questions. Actual questions. I'm sure we will devolve, though, into conversation streams. So good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Yes. Oh, Dave, here you go. Oh, you're going to be there. Very good, Dave. I think you told me that at Chicago, right? Cool. Very good. They are doing a Meet Dr. Trek panel interview. So I'm going to be interviewed for an hour, which I've never done before. I mean, I've been interviewed at panels. Jordan interviewed me for Star Trek Stellar Cartography the last time I did. We had a CBS stage at Vegas. But I've never done the standard traditional fan type con hour with. I'm really looking forward to this because it won't be me figuring out what people want to hear. It'll be someone else. The head of programming is going to interview me. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to seeing how many folks I know who are there. Okay. Hey, everybody. Hey, Steven. Hey, Fathery. Let's see. Hey, Gay. Hello from Utah, and hello over on YouTube. Good to see. David, I should be asking, how are your things? I hope you're doing okay. Hi, Adam. I know you've been with us increasingly. Yes. That's what I mean, Dave. High energy and all in uniform, which was bizarre. Here's a shout out for Terry Rothery. Okay, Captain. There we go. Michael, howdy, howdy. Let's see. Okay, Marina. Yes. And Marina, see, you're talking about one-off people. I'm talking about a cast panel of an active, I should have mentioned that too, of an active show. There's no retro nostalgia. An active show and more than one person to boot. It's historic. Yes, Robin Curtis. Yeah, one-off people years later. But in the time, can you imagine it being 1992 and Brent and Patrick walking out in their in their duds? Nope. Now, Garrett and Robbie might have back in the day, but no one. You know what would have happened back in the day? The Berman era, Rick would have said, "You're not taking that costume anywhere. You'll get it ripped. Those things cost $1,000 a piece." That's what would have happened back in the day. Or is this leaving the studio? Oh, absolutely no way. Are you going to do this here? Maybe. This is getting in a box and going, no way. Not from an active show. But, that's funny. I just realized that. That's what would have happened. Yes, Marina. But I would also say all the panels were pretty enthusiastic, but you could tell they were wound up from actually, I think it was their voice actors, and they got to be together to see each other as much as see a crowd. Now, there had been some voice actors together at the Star Trek Day panel, but that was in LA. It was still very COVID restricted, and there were 60 people in the audience. It was not a full hall, and it was not that kind of high energy that actors love to love. Everybody else, Prodigy's panel was just Kate, as far as actual, and Kate's been around the block a little bit, so it was not a thrilling. I mean, the Prodigy voice cast is very diverse, and they had been together for events, also Star Trek Day. But Yeah, it was not the same. You can't even chalk it up to being animated voice cast actors. It was something special. And yes, I didn't get into numbers. I just after it got to 3 or 4 or 5 people that I knew personally, I just went, "Oh well, that's got to be a sample. That's got to be a barometer." Compared to everything that we've been dealing with the last few months, people let their guard down. Mhm. Okay, horse's mouth, David. Thank you for sharing. Day 7 now, 95% better. It was not symptom-free or like a simple cold. The nice thing was the fever was low and short and got through it. 3 shots. I had a booster 10 days. I had my second booster 10 days before Chicago for this very reason. Chicago and then Detroit here in 2 weeks. Well, we'll see. We'll see, Galen. We'll see how normal. I mean, the flu is new normal. We deal with the flu every year, and I know that was people poo-pooing that, but we still have spikes in flu occasionally that are deadlier than others. Are we there? Yeah, Melanie. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So good on you, Galen. Yes. Oh, okay. You're on the train going home right now, Marina. They literally made the announcement about the mask mandate removal just now. Oh, really? Accompanied by a statement that those who want to mask may continue to do so. Well, how nice of them. Packed train. I'm rolling my eyes so hard right now. I'm missing the rest of this. That you can see the back of your skull. I know. I know. It's density of bodies is density of bodies. Not bad advice, Glenn. Mask early, mask often. Let's see. Well, I do too, Captain. You missed 26 episodes a season. True. Of course, to be fair, a fifth of them, every fourth or fifth one was a clinker that was showed the crunch of time. Good or bad, it was still canon, it was still churning out background. But as far as something really enjoyable, yeah, there were still the clinkers in there. I think you're right, Christoph. People still underestimate how infectious COVID-19, the Omicron BA2 variant is, and how bad quick tests are. So we really didn't have any big outbreaks. I don't know that Chicago was. Of course, we don't know. No one's. It's only self-reporting when someone, reports out in Truckland somewhere on some board, and then people share that. But it was starting to happen by the Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday a week ago. It was starting to show up. Glenn, a lot of us do. Now, maybe not the Hollywood families who were destroyed by the 18-hour days of 26 episodes, but David, I'll let you say that. Oh, don't you know 50 is the new 70? Wait, I said that wrong. Okay. The trumpet-centric music when the Doomsday Machine attacked. I know. Well, you've got the dum-dum. The Jaws basic theme is totally the Doomsday Machine. Yeah, see, we didn't live and die in the 26 episode seasons. There was another one coming, and people didn't have. Well, we had a week. We also had doubled up shows for most of that time, much of that time. Yep, Melanie. A lot of stores and restaurants have lifted them. I still see half and half. I literally see in grocery stores, drugstores, banks. I see half people wearing, half the people not. And it's not even always by age, which is interesting. Invincible young folks. Masks are still a thing on the bus. See, it's going to be, people are going to be so splintered. I'd just rather put it on and not mess with taking it on and off, losing it and all that, until we have better, calmer numbers. Yeah, this was really ridiculous, announcing it midway on the train, on the planes, the way we heard some stories. Yeah. They need to do it at midnight tonight or some other logical barrier. Yeah, or at least at the end of the planes as they land. Carl, we talked about this. I would love to be, is it publicly announced now as the last Starfest? Oops. Did you have your conversation? I don't know. Maybe we can do that further, but I would love to be there. I think, I mean, I know I would love to be there. I'm talking about calendar. Oh, you know, Carl, after we talked, I can't go. That's the weekend of the donor perk tours for the Voyager documentary. And I'm committed to leading one or two of those location site tours for big donors to the documentary. And ends up, I can't. I didn't even think about that. So no, I can't be. I need to send a video message or something for Steve and all the gang. Well, you made me look. Thanks, Carl. Hey, Steven, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And yes, the titles are out. The synopses are out. Mm-hmm. I was amazed. I took about a half a page of notes on monsters. There was nothing backgroundy. It was bizarre. And I was like, wait, am I missing? Am I missing something here? Oh well, I don't have my pad handy. I had like one column of notes from that last Picard. It was bizarre. I started the ending credits at the top of the. It was different. It was different. I think it's gonna. But of course, that makes up a little. That leavens out a little bit those first 2 or 3 or 4 episodes that were like, oh my god, just jam packed. Hold my beer, Lower Decks. The okay, Marina, you can say it. The Strange New World panel sadly suffered from rather poor hosting. They just let Anson lead it, right? Yes, and I think that's been a feedback loop, right? Right. I wondered about that when I saw they were going in-house. They're just picking up 3 of their hosts they use for Comic Cons. I wondered if that would come back to bite them. I didn't think about it being. I thought it would be something of omission, not commission. But as it turns out, they stepped in it once or twice. Getting the mask report from Europe. Thank you, Christoph. Germany and Austria masks are mandatory still on public transit and grocery stores and health places. In the Netherlands, you barely see any masks beyond your own. Pretty wild. A few elder folks, Asian women, and German tourists in museums still have masks. Here you go, Stephen. You thought it was a done deal that creation would return to the Rio next year, but recently heard someone say that's not been decided yet. That's true. Now, part of that I thought depended on what the project at the Rio was, what shape it was in, and what the Rio was going to be like. Exactly. I've heard different things too. I need to lean on my Vegas sources or just call and ask. But yeah, I'm very excited that we've got Andy Richardson on stage now for Vegas, that we couldn't do it 5 years ago. That's going to be amazing. Oh, Gay, that's you. I'm so sorry. That's you. Thank you. Thank you for being a Patreon. Thank you for being a live wire. You have to tell me if it's Cleven or Cleven at some point. Hey, Michael, never been to Vegas, but you'll be back at DragonCon for a 4th year, the week after STLV, right? Boy, DragonCon is the week. Oh, that's right. It's late in. There'll be a few folks I know that'll be a little pooped. It'll be like the year that Comic-Con in Vegas were week after week. Thank you, Jim, for the countdown. 129 days to Trek Vegas. Yes. The same old Trek Vegas, but different vibe in the valleys. We will see. I think so too, Glenn. Although I must say that when Ocon started, which is no longer with us, but Ocon was an early convention, the biggest convention in Oklahoma for a while in Tulsa. And Okie, the Okie penguin, was a space penguin, and he was the Okie mascot. He was the Ocon mascot. So every time I see Penguicon, I think of Okie, the Okie penguin for Ocon. Yes, welcome to the live chat. Uh-oh, I look sleepy? Oh no. Hey, my granddaughter's gone. I've gotten some sleep. Oh, let's see. Oh, David, sometimes you come in with these totally. It would be neat to check out a con that isn't all Star Trek. I should have met you guys at that YumaCon since it's only 90-minute drive from here. Well, yeah, but and it was small. It was a city function. There was barely 500 to 1,000 people there, so it was fine. It was wonderful. It was small. It was great. Actually got to know people. But David, see, we have I had to go years before I got to see an all Star Trek con. I had to put up with mixed cons for years, and the longer they went, the less Trek they got. So we were just talking about Starfest in Denver. Starfest was my first panacea, and it's what was the model for what I made with ThunderCon in Oklahoma City. That was my first all Trek con to get to go to, I believe. Although, of course, the Con of Wrath was Ultimate Fantasy technically was an all Trek con. So that's kind of out there. So I don't. It's like there will always be mixed cons. David, you go to Comic-Con, don't you? San Diego, that's hardly an all Trek con. What are you saying here, Melanie? You have an entire wardrobe of masks. Yeah. Don't let them go to work. Keep your germs to yourself. Let's look at Corax crackers. Oh, there you go. The Gunsmoke on what network? Yeah, Sherry Jackson was all over the place. She was Danny Thomas's daughter, Yeah, super nuts. It's more like a sprawling traveling circus. That's true, Frank. I appreciated that. You finally lost your title. After 2 years and 2 months, no longer be the last person who did a Trekland tour. That's right. No, Dr. Dave came in and we drove up to Sunstone and we knew we could not get into the one. You can't visit the villa without paying for it, but also having a group of at least 10, 12. You have to have a group of at least 12 to be able to buy the villa and have dinner there and visit it. But we were still there and we walked around and talked to folks and did it. So it's off his bucket list, at least for now. So that was very much a tour. And I have one coming up early in May. We're going back to the lot, and the lot has been closed. Paramount Studios has been closed to tours until the beginning of next month. They just started selling tickets and putting it on their calendar. Oh no, Melanie, I hope that's not true of everyone. I don't think it is. Surely not. "10-minute bike ride away and more of a bar crawl." Yep. Well, it's gotten ridiculous to try to get a pass into it. It's easy and yet ridiculous at the same time, depending on who you know. Yes. Dragon Con. I was at Dragon Con in 2003 and 2007 or 8. And I keep trying to be a guest on some level, and it just doesn't happen. So I have that. Oh yes, Justin, Planet Comic Con, Kansas City, which is a con I've wanted to go to. Yeah, Dayton and Kevin's home turf. It will be interesting. I hopefully will have a. Maybe you can give us a report next Tuesday about what Planet Comic Con looks like. I have a guess. It's sci-fi, so the sci-fi community tends to be science related and rational. But then again, there's a big, county fair aspect to any out in the flyover lands, and I say that lovingly. I grew up in the flyover land. This is true, Marina. When you go to a non-Trek con like a Comic Con, and then you see the Trek, and you can almost gauge it like a barometer. Where will you find it? Little nooks and crannies around what corner where you see it. And yes, it was obviously more common in the fallow years. That's why they were the fallow years. It was before 2015 at San Diego. I took pictures of anybody I saw, the simplest uniform, the simplest red dress or blue Spock shirt. I would take a picture and commemorate them. And then 09, I guess, brought it back some. But even after the JJ movies kind of flared up and then sputtered, there wasn't really anything until the 50th. And the studio amped up its licensing and its marketing and got into social media and got into cons again when CBS started to amp up for Discovery. I've been to some maskless events too, but it's when everybody came in, it's small group, and people were still vaxxed and all of that. Yes. Oh, Marina, you're gonna go. You're gonna do Phoenix Fan Fusion in and out in May. Wow, I'm supposed to be there. I have to check on it. That would be wild. But good for you, everybody. Everybody, just do what you've got to do. Good thought. Good thought, David. On a 4-hour plane flight, you can't. You're stuck. Mm-hmm. Oh, a Picard question. Do I think that the dude who arrested Jean-Luc is really with the cops, or are they undercover unit of temporal investigation? Since this is the dude who played alongside Bruce McGill in Relativity on said temporal spaceship. Yes, you noticed that, did you? You and part of online fandom. What's funny is Jay Carnes was an undergrad at KU when I was there, and I keep wanting to tweet him and say, do you remember the grad students you never knew because you were a busy undergrad? But yes, we had a mutual friend, colleague. I've wanted to reach out to him and see if he had any memory back in the day. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out, won't we? Won't that be interesting? Well, David, you're not really that far, It's just you just go out the 8. You have your own interstate to go to Phoenix, but there you go. What? We're sorry, but the chat you've reached is not in service this time. Yeah. Hi, Stephen. Howdy do. And hello, Stuart from Gumbo Country. I see you survived. Uh-huh. Yes, David, they did, but years later. And that was a setup with photo ops, right? Yeah. Had they made a book about different phasers, rifle blueprints? There's been things off and on, but of course it hasn't been updated. Now we have a phaser in a uniform a week, it feels like, and that will have to be updated. Yeah, again, Christoph, was it when their show was live, when they were shooting? That's what I'm getting to. It wasn't a nostalgia throwback. Oh, now I can get paid for this. Yes. Are those panels on YouTube? I haven't looked. I think they are. I went to look the other day, either from officially CBS or some fan. I'm having really a hard time thinking those panels aren't on. I know they were filmed, they were videoed. Oh, hey, Stephen. Did some TOS actors appear on the TV talk show in the 80s in their monster maroons? Jimmy, George, and Walter? Maybe. But again, that's TV. They're thinking they're going to reach millions. It's Jimmy, George, and Walter. That's cool. That's main cast. But I'm thinking, just for a convention stage, a live event, this would be put down as, you chalk this up to promotion. I'm thinking. I think you're probably right. I'm thinking by the time of the movie's run, and I'm thinking they got paid and they were fine with it. And even though they were still actively promoting a movie, so it wasn't totally after the fact nostalgia, a big chunk of it by then was after the fact nostalgia. And just looking viable. Well, there you go. Reed Pop. The dichotomy between what's Reed Pop and what's Paramount Plus. That would be a thing. Yes, Brian, people forget that COVID is still a thing. Okay. And again, there was no DST during the run of DS9. I think this has come along since 1999. So that was my point about what made the Lower Decks moment so special. Well, Glenn, interesting point. You're saying that there's just as many bad episodes. Well, let's just call them clinkers. Let's just call them episodes that did not live up to their potential. Just as many in 8 or 13 episodes. I know there are some that don't excite me as much as others, but we'll see. This is an issue, Melanie. You can't read lips through masks, and some people are rude, not believing that I can't hear them. I know the feeling. There's many times I just kind of nod, and hopefully if it's a passing thing, if I've talked to someone for 4 or 5 sentences back and forth, and I decide this is something I really did want to know, I'll just say, no, wait, say that again. And I'll just put him back to the beginning. And that's my polite way of saying, I can't hear you, but now I'm going to make a big deal out of it. And don't rebuff me, or else what's the point of me trying to listen to you? Little pro tip. You laugh off the fact that you have to ask somebody to go back and repeat something. And you certainly make it about you, not about them. Yes, location sites. Hi, Sean O'Sullivan. Good to see you, sir. First time in a long time, but yes, Vasquez Rocks. And Vasquez Rocks is like Vasquez Rocks. We're talking, Tillman on down. More obscure also, yes. Okay. Okay, they publicly announced it now. Well, I'm gonna have to miss it. And I will miss you. I need to write Stephen. I need to do some kind of a video thing for him. Well, there you go. Hyatt is taking over from Caesars on the Rio. Yeah. What's it going to be? I've heard everything from a part of it being senior housing to who knows. I haven't seen the published ones. I think I did see one story that published them, and I didn't realize they had clearance to do that, but they put out a screener with 4, I guess maybe 5 episodes. So there's no reason for them not to be real. Mm-hmm. Live wire alert. Thank you, Gay. All righty then. Clevin like 11. I will know it now. And thank you again for being a live wire. Oh, it is to me. What is my favorite episode of Star Trek Picard season 2 to date? Well, it was not the last one, but then before that, they're all blurring together. Not so much the the Stargazer was interesting and exciting and packed. The very first one, the season opener. I'm not trying not to be drawn along here by just awesome density of background, whether you're in Prime, you're in alternate future Prime, you're in fascist future Prime, or you're in fascist future past unchanged. Maybe the first one, or maybe the I don't know. Probably there's another contender between 2 and wherever the hell we are now, but not the last one. It was softer, and that's fine, but it just yeah. Not the one with the Europa party. Is it just me, or does it feel like there's 47 elements all being juggled at once here? I want to see how these things are tied up at the end. I hope they get them all tied up at the end. Yes, Linda, I took one Monday and I took one Thursday. I might even take one now. You went to ThunderCon to meet. That was the last ThunderCon. We had moved to LA, and the brain trust was just not sufficient to keep it going, sadly. Everybody that I knew that was working and that was con business savvy at the time was all moving away. So hey, Gay, I have been a guest at FanX for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, not counting the COVID days. So I think so too. And I think if you want to come and represent Trek, I would be there. There's no reason why I'm not. And again, and we need to represent Trek as much as we can. So I would put in a big boost. And then when you buy your ticket, say Larry sent me. Mm-hmm. And yes, Carl's there. Boom. That's home turf. They always have a great presentation. Do we know where they filmed the finale of Picard season 1? Capelius? Yes, we do. Out in Malibu. And there you go. I just got you 2 together. Boom. Comic, anime, toy, they cover everything. See, that's you're having to go by audience and, density. You got to be, the market is not big enough to be able to go down a single niche unless something is really, really hot at the moment. And then when it's not, you kind of have to be generic on. Hi, Rose. Top chat. I'm so now. Uh-huh. There you go. He's already told you. Yes, Gay, you're missing out a lot of Trek experience and new Trek friends. Well, a shuttle pod, like an Elbaz, but it was. Yeah, they started inviting me for the 25th, like 2012, 2013, and I've been every year except for the COVID years. Every live year for 5 or 6 years I've been at FanX. Undergrad, yes, Captain. Someone who's a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in college working on their bachelor's, not a graduate degree, not a master's or a doctorate. Yes. Well, there was money driving it because a network now had a live show to promote. So, yeah, exactly. Although they will say, Melanie, that's the new United anyway, talks about the circulation systems they put in and the filters they put in are better than what's out in public inside buildings now. Mm-hmm. Yep. 5 shows. 5 shows. I haven't watched a single one. Yeesh. I hope so too, Marina. That's Brie country, and Kevin and Diana. We will see. We will see what they do. Hey, Frank, are there any cons in the Northeast on the horizon for me to attend? Not at the moment past Detroit, which is not very northeasterly, but it's more northeast than Oklahoma City. There's a group in the Northeast. Did we meet there? That's looking to come back. COVID blew them up, but they're looking to come back and restart in New York State. And I'm hopefully going to get back there. But again, if you know someone that needs a fairly cheap guest and represent Trek that way, pass me along. I would love to be up that way. Oh, thank you, John. The panels are not on YouTube. Well, that's shocking. YouTube or even the CBS site, the Paramount Plus site. That was overseen by Mike Westmore. Mike Westmore has a tooth guy, and they would cast teeth for the individual actors. And I believe they've all, since they couldn't be used by anyone else, I think Max at least has his teeth. I'm betting they all wound up with their teeth as they left. And I believe they get them out for when they do the photo ops in makeup. But yes, they were forensic or recreationist dentist, and they were all custom cast. Absolutely. If it was going to be a recurring character, they were generic teeth for generic bits. But the regulars who were regularly in teeth absolutely had them. Yes, David. A clinker is the lighter version of a clunker. I think of a clunker as a car. So a clinker is obviously a TV show weighs less than a car. A DVD, a VHS tape in a car. Wow, John. The new series are much more consistent in quality. There's nothing so awful I'll never watch it again. Can't say that about the older Trek. Well, that's true. That's true. See, there's where numbers matter. Seen some see-through masks. Now, see, that would help. And they're not, if they don't look too spooky. I think some of those things, I've seen kids that were spooked by the photorealistic masks anyway. They weren't see-through, but they took a picture of your actual face, jaw. Would Threshold be a clinker? See, I think, people have said it's only the last 3 minutes of Threshold that people remember. As you lead up to that, it's a great horror story. And watching Tom decompose, de-evolve, rip out his tongue, those are all really gross Brannon moments. It's just the salamander babies and the implications. That's a little bizarre. But even then, no, there are clinkier. Threshold it's not quite the show you love to hate. It's the show you love to, oh my God. I'm thinking the clinkers are some of them that are just so ordinary. They just don't stand out at all. They fade away into the shadows. Or some of them just kind of go, I mean, the TNG writers famously used to talk about Aquiel being that way. And Night Terrors. Superman Troy, Flying Troy. And even Schisms has its good points, but they were so, their perspective was they were so disappointed that the fish monk aliens were supposed to be much more mysterious and they had no smoke on set. And you just saw them for what they were. So there are moments and then entire shows that you just went, Sadly for you, plenty of current Trek that you won't rewatch. Have the tour and the panel if you live stream. Well, the problem with that is we're on the move. There was once I had Dr. Dave, we were out at Club Ed, the Q Continuum suicide realm. And we were so out in the middle of nowhere. It was so hot. We were melting, but it was so out in the middle of nowhere. Even though there was some internet, it was so weak, we couldn't live stream. And I had to wait till I came back into town. So that's that, and just the logistics of I'd have to have an assistant walking around holding a tablet in front of me to have a quality show. Now, little short bits, 5 or 10 minute, lives or something, maybe. But trying to do something longer than that, it would be we'd need a lot more production quality. So, okay. I didn't see. Is one of the episodes of Strange New Worlds called Strange New Worlds? That's okay. We have Emissary and The Emissary. We have Wink of an Eye and Blink of an Eye. So, what can I say? There you go. You're watching going, where is this going? What's the point? How am I supposed to care? I know. Sadly for me, the teaser of the first two-parter of the pilot was pretty interesting. That's the thing, John. They knew they were exhausted. They knew they were just having to push through. You read Jerry and Michael and Ira and Ron and Renee and all those people talking about just pushing through. Brannon and Brian, because the clock was relentless. Mm-hmm. And yet, I'm just waiting to see what Discovery Season 1 looks like 10 years from now. Hi, Justin. No, I wouldn't, because that was old school. Go out and promote the show. They're being paid. It's in their contract, yada, yada. Nobody has ever put it in their contract for any actors of Star Trek to go on a convention stage and wear a costume. They weren't doing that by choice. In fact, Leonard Nimoy said he would never do it again. Shatner went on Storybook Squares on Saturday morning and wore his. Well, they were out of filming. But yeah, you're right. They were in costume in the run of the show. I think Dee did too, but we haven't seen any photos of it. But that was a thing they would do, and no one's talking about the aesthetic distance and breaking the fourth wall and all of that, and Nimoy putting on his ears and all of that crazy stuff. He just swore up and down after the mob nearly got him that he would never do it again. But yeah, that's a paid part of the job promotion. The convention stage appearance isn't the same thing. This was mainstream promo. This is like Walter, George, and Jimmy being on some show somewhere to promote the movie. Conventions are something different. Those actors don't have to do that. They're getting paid for it, but not as a contractual, thing that they have to do. So no, I wouldn't. I totally remember those, and they were awesome, but I'm not putting it in the same. And aside from the fact that those were one-offs, it wasn't even a group, because now you've got to multiply the human accessibility to it by 4. Wow, Glenn. Okay, well, maybe we'll see you around a little more then. Yay. Hey, Michael. What are you saying? I know, Michael. Hey, I'm fine because it's Thanksgiving. You get up early Friday morning and fly, which is kind of a pain to go back east. But I've been to Starbase Indy, I think 4 times. maybe 5, but at least 4 times. And I loved it, and I'm glad it survived. I'm glad they've had the handoff of leadership that's kept going. And I love Starbase Indy, even though it's not an all-Trek con anymore. It's very homegrown. They've got a science track. They've got local astronauts. So if you want to jump up and yell for me, I would love to come back sometime, even over Thanksgiving. There's been some bad episodes of Trek. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, David, but don't blame me if it doesn't all go well. Yes. First Contact and First Contact. Absolutely. We're talking episodes, but yeah. There you go. You know what? Idic. We can all be diverse in our ideas and populations. Gang, am I at the end of the chat? Is this the end of the chat? Thank you, Christoph. It does seem like I'm at the end of the chat. Heaven forbid. That's what we do. And first contact. Well, kiddos, it seems that is. So it's been a grab bag kind of week. It's been an in case you missed it kind of week. So everybody, thanks for joining in. Once again, I'll just remind very quickly, if you're going to Vegas, come out the day ahead, check out the our Valley of Fire. I call it the Kirk Memorial Tour. It's really kind of an interesting, odd one. It's only the one day. We leave at 7. We get back mostly before the heat. There's a lunch. We have some surprising bits that ordinary, even savvy film folk will not know to show you. And we've done this several times. It's a lot of fun. It's just a small tour. I think we only need 6 or 8 people to go out in a van or two. And I would love to have you join us if you've got the time on Con Eve. We will be back by 2 o'clock in the afternoon so you can recover in time for the landing party and finish figuring out what Bally's looks like. Meanwhile, don't forget the Great Birds Origins Tour is this August, 2 days. We're going to be around LA here. You can headquarter at the Hollywood Roosevelt for $100 off a night. Check with me first to get back to that. And this will be a small tour tour. We are halfway to the 6 we need. So think about that. And in the next 24 hours, if you sign up, go to LarryNemechek.com, follow the link. It will be $50 off. That'll be our third Tuesday special this week. Our third Tuesday special this month, I should say. So 24 hours on that. Otherwise, once again, it's a Trek Files new this week. You want to go check that out. We're talking about uniforms, the military, science, and kids. You want to see what that's all about. And John Champion's my guest this week. And yes, otherwise, it's Larry Nemechek on Twitter, Larry Nemechek's Trekland. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube and tell everyone you know to do the same. Facebook Live, of course, and Instagram. A lot of fun stuff is coming on the Instagram. Be looking for some Mike McMahon quotes from Open House last year. They're coming along too. Portal47.net if you just want to jump in as much as you can and join the Portales. Yes, everyone, tomorrow is our European midday Ask Dr. Trek for real. Look forward to seeing all the midday and the European Portales then. Otherwise, gang, we will see you back here next Tuesday. If I don't see you this weekend in Detroit, which I'm looking very much forward to, if you're up in that area, Penguin Con, check it out. It'll be a laid-back, smartly run fan event of all kinds, melding and mixing. I'm thrilled to be in the middle of all of it. Otherwise, if I don't see you till Tuesday, until then, until whenever, please, please, stay healthy, do all the things. Stay woke, check your sources. And yes, trek well, everybody.